Hello and welcome to the Long Days Journey into Film podcast. I'm Russ, here with my co-host,
Andy here.
And we're back after a week break, and Andy's back, so that's cool. We're going to talk about some movies, answer some questions. It's going to be a good time. So if you have a question of your own, leave it down below in the YouTube comments section. If you're listening to this on Spotify or any other podcasting site, there'll be a link in the description for the YouTube channel. So head over there and subscribe because there is some bonus content there sometimes. So
definitely, we'll definitely have some stuff over on that YouTube channel eventually.
Yeah,
some bonus content.
Some stuff that nobody else would get. It's like Patreon except for free. Also follow us on Letterboxd. We're on Letterboxd, so follow us. We do have an Instagram page, but I think you kind of fell off with posting stuff there.
Yeah,
but that's fine.
I'm terrible at social media.
Yeah, same. But I don't know. Check out that description. Sometimes there's good things down there. So now we'll be answering questions from our viewers. Most of these questions we're answering are from the Discord server we're on, which is sometimes linked down below as well. But you can just leave a question in the comment section if you want. First off, we got from Mav, who is left us questions consistently, so shout out Mav. What do you think is most plaguing the movie industry at the moment? That's an interesting question.
I'd have to say remakes, reboots. Not that like inherently they're bad, but it's just the studio's reliance on strictly those, and the studios aren't really trying to get some new, fresh ideas out there because the existing properties, sequels, remakes, reboots, all make the money. It's a safe bet, really.
I don't think it's so much that it's... Yeah, it is that it's sequels and reboots and stuff, but like, I feel like it's more of how they're doing them. You know, they're just doing them because someone recognizes it and it's like, oh, I know that, I'll watch it. It's like, there's nothing really behind them. I mean, you know, sometimes there are good sequels and reboots and stuff, but like, I feel like it's more, kind of like in last episode, we talked about directors, and what do you think is like the downfall of great directors, basically? And it's kind of like just laziness, I think.
It feels shallow, their efforts.
Yeah, it's just like shallow. Like, they don't really
care about the properties they're remaking or rebooting. They're just doing it for money.
Yeah, because they can. It's like, you know, if you make a Terminator 8 or whatever the fuck, someone's going to be like, oh yeah, I'll watch that. And it's like, they don't actually put anything behind it. They don't actually care about what they're doing other than this will make money, this won't. It's like, that's why I think a lot of independent films, I mean, you know, recently with like, you know, A24 and stuff, a lot of...
Neon.
Yeah, a lot of that type of stuff. You know, they're taking more risks, and you know, it is, you know, it works for it because people do like that.
Kind of taking off too.
Yeah, it is, but it's like, you know, sometimes the riskier stuff or the stuff that's more, I don't know, maybe not as marketable or just generally not as accessible to mainstream audiences. It's just like people don't want to make it because it's like, you know, well, why the fuck would a big studio make something that is like not gonna make them as much money as if they just made like fucking, I don't know, Avatar 3 or whatever the fuck. Like, I mean,
I think Avatar movies are existing just because James Cameron.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I feel like everyone will watch Avatar 2 because it's like, oh, it's Avatar. But like, if it's not good, people might not watch all those. Doesn't he have like, how many sequels does he have planned?
I think there's at least 3 sequels, so like 4 movies in total that are filming or have filmed. So they are coming, whether or not we like it or not.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like some people say.
I hope they're at least decent.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I wasn't a big fan of the original or the first Avatar.
I don't mind it. It's basic,
same. It's like
white savior kind of thing, but
yeah, I have that like basic opinion that like it looks cool and like that's it. I don't know. It's fine, but like I'll watch the sequel.
There's potential there.
But like, you know, a lot of people say it's like a big problem is like streaming, and you know, streaming is the death of cinema, all that.
I don't think so.
Actually, that leads us into our next question. That was a very a smooth segue for me there. Um, what's your take and opinion on streaming services? So
I think they're fine. I don't think they're the death of cinema. If anything, I think there's potential for them to like indie movies and shit. There's a potential how do I say it? There's a market there for people who aren't into mainstream cinema as much.
yeah,
They might be more interested in something on streaming, even though the theater experience is preferred.
like that's the thing. It's like people say it's like it's the death of cinema because people just want to go on Netflix and not go to the theater. But it's like not really. I mean, theaters are still around. They're still gonna be around. They're not like it's like nobody goes there as some relic. It's like
You can
and it's like
definitely
they're
take
always
more risk on streaming.
yeah. Yeah, I really like streaming services, and as for just generally, yeah, it's like I think it's a really good thing to have so much available. I mean, obviously, not every streaming service is going to have everything people will want, and there's always other options out there to find whatever you want. But like, I feel like it's a good, it's kind of a unique opportunity for film lovers and stuff to find so much in one place for like, just pay like I don't know $10 a month or whatever. And it's like there's so much stuff out there in different services. I don't know. I think I like. I'm for them. I'm
Yeah.
pro streaming service.
I spend a lot of time on HBO, so
Yeah. As for like generally, my favorite streaming services, I would say HBO Max and Criterion Channel for ones you pay for.
same for me.
HBO Max is like always crashing for some reason for me, and that kind of sucks. But like, I don't know, they got a great selection, and Criterion Channel is just like top notch. I love everything on there. And for free ones, I really love Tubi and Canopy. Canopy especially because it got like a huge selection, and it's just free. There's no ads or anything. If you have a library card,
Canopy.
yeah.
I need to get a library card.
But Tubi's great because like, even though there's ads, which is a bit annoying, it's like they have such a huge selection. It's great.
Tubi is always great for obscure horror.
Yeah, they have such a wide selection of horror. I mean, stuff that sometimes you can't even find anywhere else. At least I can't.
YouTube has stuff too.
Yeah. YouTube actually has a lot of free stuff. I mean, sometimes it comes and goes because it gets taken down. But yeah, there's some interesting stuff. I found some really obscure movies on there.
Obscure horror movies on YouTube that are, I think, pretty permanent, going to stay there. Like Home Movie and I forget the name of the other movie, but it was a weird movie. Anyway.
Yeah. I found like a Shuji Terayama film on there. It's like, what? Because it's just like I can't find it anywhere. What else do we have? Oh, by the way, that question was from Bunny. So thanks, Bunny, for the question. Here's one from Ishu. What are the books you've read which you want to be adapted into a movie, and vice versa? I'm not really a big book reader, but I've been trying to read more recently. I'm a big fan of Chuck Palahniuk. He's the author of like Fight Club and Choke and stuff like that. That he has several books that were turned into films, but he has some really good ones. Like his book Survivor, I think would make for a really great movie or like a miniseries. And I think his book Lullaby was actually considered for like or they're talking about making it into a miniseries. So that's interesting.
I'm not really a big book reader either, but I guess if I had to choose, I'd like the Graveyard book adaptation from Neil Gaiman. That'd be pretty good to see if it's done right, and if Neil Gaiman's attached, I'm sure he'll treat it right. Paradise Lost would be cool to see adapted, but I have no idea how you would pull it off.
That sounds familiar.
I have not read this book, but everything I know about it sounds really dope. So it'd be cool to see it, and that's Magica from Clive Barker. I think there's a lot of potential there. or just like anything Clive Barker does.
Yeah, I
He
need
sh-
to read more.
he should be treated like Stephen King's been treated.
Yeah, Stephen King has a ton of adaptations, doesn't he?
He does, and he has some mid-tier stuff, but he also has some really good stuff,
Yeah,
adaptation-wise,
I must
and bad
admit,
stuff.
I've never actually read a full Stephen King book. I
Me
started reading
neither.
The Gunslinger at one point, but I just wasn't really into it. I should read The Shining at some point. I really should.
Yeah.
Aunt Kind by Charlie Kaufman. That would make for an interesting movie. um, if anyone knows that book, or Charlie Kaufman in general, it's very out there, and it's a very thick book as well. So I'm not sure how you would turn it into a movie, but
There
um,
was a series of books I read in like middle school. I don't. I think it's like called The Seventh Son or something. Seventh Son. I think there was actually a movie adaptation of it,
oh,
but it wasn't like the same. I don't even know where I'm going with this.
I'm trying to think of some books I've read. Fuck, hold on, let me check my Goodreads account because I made a Goodreads account for some reason.
I'm pretty sure I'm thinking of The Last Apprentice, which did get an adaptation, but it was absolutely fucking garbage, apparently. So it'd be cool to see these books adapted perfectly because I was pretty into them.
I just saw Uzumaki, the Junji Ito um, manga, go by on my Goodreads account, and like apparently that's getting like a legit anime show, like mini series. That's cool. If anyone knows, like that actually had a film adaptation called Spiral from 2000, not the not the Saw one, but and it wasn't very good. I watched it after I read the manga, but I'm interested in what the show will be.
Anything from
Um,
Junji Ito would be very cool to see.
oh yeah, he's such like grotesque imagery in his stuff. I would like to see like a Cronenberg Junji Ito. That'd be kind of cool. Or not. I don't fucking know. It also said, or vice versa. I'm not really sure if I've ever watched a movie and thought like, I would like to see this as a book. Because I'm not really a huge reader, but I'm trying to get into more stuff. I'm trying to read a lot of books that's like based, or movies were based on like Fear and Loathing and The Shining, and I read Train Spotting a while back, American Psycho, that type of thing. I don't know. I don't have much more for this question. Do you?
Hold on. I don't, but
Anyway, we got one from Kettlecorn. What is one movie that you can quote the most, and how much of it can you quote? Fuck. What's a really quotable movie? Uh,
um,
The Big Lebowski is really quotable. That's like a kind of a classic
Big
quotable movie.
Lebowski's great. I like Joe Dirt, quotable to me
Mm,
because it was
the,
my comfort movie for a while.
for like quotable, let's see. Like American Psycho is quotable. Um,
What movie am I thinking of? Shit.
for probably for like what movie, like how much of it can you quote? Like a movie that I can quote the most would probably be like Train Spotting because I've just seen it so many times. Um,
I guess that would be Scream or Joe Dirt for me then.
yeah, yeah. Like I mean, most of my favorites that I've seen a whole bunch, like Taxi Driver and stuff, I can probably quote too. Um, Here's a little interesting spin on the question: what's your favorite quote from a movie?
Oh, that's very hard to.
Yeah, I just kind of threw that in myself. I can always cut this out. We don't have to
I
rack
have
our brains.
no idea what I would be.
um, but yeah, I would say like Big Lebowski or Train Spotting for me. It's just yeah, those are both very quotable. Were we supposed to give quotes or? Because now, like at this moment, I can't think of a single fucking quote from either of those.
Neither.
But yeah, they're both very quotable. Yeah, yeah, I'm not sure how much I can quote like a percentage of some of it or something, but like I don't fucking know. Trainspotting, I can say most of the.
I can remember
I know
some
how most
quotes
of the
from
dialogue
Scott
plays out. So.
Pilgrim. I gotta pee on
I
her.
should rewatch that. What?
The quote, it's a quote from Scott Pilgrim. I gotta pee on her.
I should rewatch that movie. Edgar Wright. I like Edgar Wright.
Superbad's got some good quotes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
21 and 22 Jump Street probably have some good ones too.
Yeah, I haven't seen those for like forever, but those are fun. Naked is kind of quotable. It's got really a lot of great dialogue. I'm not really sure if it's what people would usually think of as a quotable movie, but like, I don't know. It's got some of the best dialogue in anything I've seen. So like, another question from Olivia. So shout out Olivia. Which movie led to your sexual awakening?
I don't know if I have a movie like that.
I guess like, I don't know. Sky High. I watched that when I was kind of young. I was like,
what movie?
Damn, Sky High. Fucking.
Oh, Sky High.
It's like Mary Elizabeth Winstead in that.
I saw some movies when I was younger that I probably shouldn't have, but thanks to my older brothers, I have. I mean, older brother. My cousin used to live with us, so that's why I said brothers. But,
Under the Skin. That's maybe one for me.
Oh yeah, I really like Scarlett Johansson, thanks to Iron Man 2.
Oh yeah, the Avengers too for me. It's definitely in there.
I was gonna say American Pie. I think 4 is it? Bandcamp.
I haven't seen any of them past the first one.
I've seen a lot of them thanks to Comedy Central. Yeah, it's American Pie 4 Bandcamp. That was played a fucking lot in my bedroom for some fucking reason.
Fuck, I feel like I'm missing something. What am I missing? There was like a pivotal movie for me that I'm missing. I don't fucking know.
I think that was probably it for my sexual awakening movies.
I guess like Margot Robbie and The Wolf of Wall Street. I remember watching that when I was like 12 and thinking like, damn son. I don't know. Matt Dillon in The House of Jack built.
Oh my!
Not gonna lie, that's in there. I don't know. Actually, I have several other questions here that are redo questions from last episode because you weren't here, and I thought they were really good questions. So I kind of want. I already answered them. I probably talked longer than I should have since Arthur didn't have in last episode didn't have proper answers for these. But so you can just kind of answer. Which 5 movies do you think deserves a Criterion release? And if you could remake a movie with a director of your choice, what movie and which director? But we'll start with the Criterion one.
Criterion releases. I definitely think I think Get Out deserves one for quite a few reasons.
It does have it does have like a proper 4K release though. Like, yeah, I guess I could see that. Yeah, I think it's probably worthy maybe, but like I'm not really.
When I think of Criterion movies, I think of movies that are either like insanely good or movies that are like important to film for some reason. Yeah. Whether it's thematically or how it affected society or whatever.
Yeah, the way I see it is like either like very important to film, or you can't, or it's really good, or just like pretty good, and like you can't find it anywhere. Like that's a lot of stuff that I'd love to see in the like there's a lot of classics. It's like The Godfather could probably be in the Criterion. Like fucking I don't know, The Shining, but it's like those movies do have proper releases. That are decent, and like I'd like to see them, but like I'd also love to see like a like a Shuji Terayama box set or something, or like a Harmony Korine box set, because it's like you can't even find those sometimes like proper DVDs. Like last episode I talked about like Eureka, the Shinji Aoyama film. Like I can't even find a proper DVD of that, and it's like I think it's important. A lot of stuff that's like I don't know. I talked about more in last episode. Um,
Think of movies like that I need to go to my Letterboxd to look around because I'm sure I do have films that I like that not so much that I like, but films that I think deserve to be in the Criterion.
hmm. Yeah, there's so many. I kind of went on and on last episode, but um,
You probably have more than me. I think most of these films that I've seen were thanks to Criterion Collection. So
I'd love to see more Edward Yang films like That Day on the Beach and like Terrorizers. I'm not sure if Terrorizers has a proper Blu-ray or not, but like since they have like Yi and A Brighter Summer Day, and I think Taipei Story as well in the collection, I'd love to see some of his other stuff that's more maybe not as well known. I can go on and on about Criterion. Like honestly, we could probably do like a whole like episode just talking about what we think could is worthy of being in the Criterion collection or needs like a Criterion release. So,
yeah,
um, what about the remake question?
remake what movie? Huh. So fuck, where would I go with that? I think I would choose a movie that I like that's not so good. That would probably be better if had a more like talented director.
Yeah, my answer was I think the love to see Gaspar Noé's Seconds remake that he mentioned. Not that that movie needs remade, but like I just kind of love to see what he'd do with it.
I'm looking, trying to think. What would be a good movie to remake? I feel like I would probably go with a like 80s horror movie that deserved more credit.
Yeah.
Something um like The Stuff. If you remade The Stuff with director like who would be good to I think I'll go with like The Stuff or Wishmaster.
Oh, Wishmaster. It's so good though. That doesn't need to be remade. Wishmaster.
True. I mean, if it was remade, it'd probably lose a little bit of its charm as.
Yeah, like if they made that and it didn't have that same tone of like kind of self-aware, like kind of cheesy. Like if it was fully serious, I'm not sure if it would be as fun. We should do a Wishmaster episode. It's
I want to
underrated.
see. I know Guillermo del Toro did Bleed too, but I
Hmm.
would still like to see him tackle vampires a bit more. So if Guillermo, I struggle with names. Guillermo del Toro remade Subspecies, that'd be pretty cool.
Oh, I want to see that. I want to see Subspecies.
It's not super great, but it's got potential. That's why I want. That's why I say like Guillermo del Toro attached to it could probably do it really well.
Yeah. Um, I would like to see the movie Filth from 2013 be remade. I'm not sure what director, but like I feel like there was something there that just kind of wasn't quite um there. Like I feel like I don't fucking know. I bet the source material is good enough that you can make a really good movie out of that.
Um,
Um,
I don't know who would direct it, but if we could reboot the Puppet Master franchise with someone really competent, that would be nice.
didn't they make wasn't that recent one, The Littlest Reich? Wasn't the guy who did like Bone Tomahawk involved?
Yeah, he wrote it, but he didn't direct it.
Oh, okay.
I really like that movie because
It's like Craig
I
Zoller.
mean it's not like a great movie in like general terms, but I really enjoyed it because it was everything that like a B movie in my opinion should be.
Yeah, I want to see the original Puppet Master. I want to see that one.
All I wanted to see was insane kills and a lot of dumb, goofy humor, and I got plenty of that. So I was really happy with the film.
I might be wrong about this, but are those like Trauma? Those some of those Puppet Master sequels?
I don't think so.
All right.
There's probably a few Trauma movies or Full Moon movies that deserve remakes too.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm just
Last
trying to
of
think of.
Nukem High.
I want to see that.
Pretty much like any like B80s movie could probably be remade.
Yeah, with the right director, probably.
There's the music again.
Okay. I think that's it for questions.
I'm gonna look at my window. Hold on. I swear, like, someone's having the craziest fucking party down the road. Alright, that's it for the questions.
That's it for the questions. Now we're gonna be having a little bonus discussion in here. I guess we never actually announced what we'd be talking about this episode, but a little bonus discussion about a new film that just came out like a week, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Malignant by James Wan from 2021. So we both saw this, and I think we both have enough to say about it to have a little discussion. So what do you think of Malignant?
I thought it was a mess.
Oh, wait, also real quick. Wait. Also real quick, how about we don't say spoilers, since it's a brand new movie? How about we don't talk spoilers, and then when we do start talking spoilers,
we'll have it bookmarked, or like marked with
I'll
call it.
But yeah, I also thought it was kind of a mess.
I've never really liked James Wan a whole lot as a director, except for Saw. So I wasn't going in expecting much anyway, but I was trying to be positive, and it was just a very weird movie, and I think I know what he was going for. I just think he failed on a lot of fronts, personally.
Yeah.
But I appreciate that he was trying to go that route.
Yeah, so like, I enjoy James Wan's films. I mean, I don't think he's like a top tier director, but I really love Saw. That's one of my favorite movies, or at least favorite horror movies. I enjoyed both Conjuring movies and Insidious, and I also enjoy Furious 7, but also Death Sentence is decent. So like, yeah, I like him. I think he's a good director. And you definitely feel, I feel like the styles. You feel a style a lot in this with like the I don't know, like wide shots of the house, like people walking around a house and it's like dark. And kind of like those like almost kind of like in The Conjuring, there's a lot of that like
the classic Wan.
Yeah, and like I feel like you get a lot of elements of his different films in this, but like I don't think it really works. The film overall, it's like I feel like it's going for one tone until it's not, and then it's going for another tone, and then it just kind of like merges in between the two. Of like, yeah. So should we give like a description of what this movie's about? We never do that in the right time.
So, Malignant is about a woman who is paralyzed by fear from shocking visions. They start to worsen, and she discovers her waking dreams are terrifying realities. Pretty much. It sounds weirder than it actually no, I don't know if it's weirder than it actually is.
Like the premise sounds weirder.
Yeah. The premise sounds cooler than what we got.
Yeah, like so shit, what was I gonna say? There's a lot of cliches in this. Like all the characters and like their motivations and stuff. It's like it all feels very familiar, and it's all kind of predictable. I mean, there is like a twist. Fuck it. Should we just get into spoilers?
Go ahead.
All right. If you don't want this movie spoiled, skip ahead to whatever time. I'll put like a time thing in here. Timestamp. Yeah. So like basically, yeah, she's having those visions. I think her name's like Maddie or something.
I got confused by the fucking names in this movie.
And hold up.
This movie is full of actors I do not know, by the way, except for like one actor that was someone who got killed very early on. That was the abusive boyfriend that Medicine had.
Yeah, like that. Like the whole like abusive boyfriend element. Like it's weird because it's like it's sort of like really brief in the movie because it's like they introduce him, he like pushes her against the wall or whatever. And then it's like the next night he gets killed, and it's like it's weird because it's almost like it didn't even really need to be there. And like I just feel like I've seen that exact trope or cliche of like the abusive boyfriend that gets killed. Like haven't you seen that in other horror movies? Like I don't know, just like all the characters in it. Then there's like the very generic like the cop and the partner, you know, the detective characters, and like, I mean, that's not really a bad thing.
The
but
cop,
like,
the detective in this movie was actually, for me, one of the more enjoyable parts.
what's his name, like Kakoa or something?
Yeah, like, Kakoa Shaw, which is a weird name, but whatever.
Yeah, like I enjoyed that, but like it felt very cliche. Just like all the characters felt very, or at least familiar, I guess you would say.
I didn't think the
like,
acting was all that. I just thought he was probably one of the best actors in the film.
yeah, I thought the acting was good from Annabelle Wallace as the main character. I've seen her in other stuff. What the fuck have I seen her in? She was in Haunting of Hill House, wasn't she?
What?
I
No.
think. No.
No.
What the fuck? Hold up, I gotta fact check.
I mean, she does look like the woman from Haunting of Hill House. Cause I understand the confusion.
What the fuck? Oh, who am I thinking of?
You're thinking of fucking his wife. What's his name's wife? From the director of Doctor Sleep,
I don't know.
who
Who's his
did the
wife?
Haunting of Hill House. Mike Flanagan's wife. Kate
Who's
Siegel.
Mike Flynn? It must be, yeah. Fuck, I thought she was. Yeah, I was thinking she was someone else. Okay, but she was good in it. I thought she was good. I didn't really think the sister was very good. I didn't think her acting was like Sydney. I think her character's name was.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like the whole film, it feels very. It just feels like this like kind of generic story of like, or not generic. It's like it's going for a serious tone. And it is serious. It's like early on, she's like a miscarriage after the first incident of, which actually doesn't really make much sense. Part of the incident, considering the twist later on. I guess we can talk about it, but yeah, she's a miscarriage, and it's like it's supposed to be like a sad scene, and like it plays itself seriously, but like the opening scene is very goofy. It's like very like cheesy and like over the top. There's like they're in the hospital or whatever, or I don't know what the fuck it was, and there's like something rampaging, and they're like saying, "What the fuck do they say?" Like, "You've been a bad, bad boy, Gabriel," or something like that.
Yeah,
And
said
like,
that line, and it was hilarious.
yeah, and like,
for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, and they're like talking, and there's like the fucking thing, and you just see like a glimpse of it. I think it's like strapped down or something, and she's like, "Time to cut out the cancer," and then it like cuts to like the um, opening credits, and like I don't know, it's something that felt like when I saw that, I was like, oh, so it's gonna be like this type of thing, you know? But then it gets really serious for a while, and then later it gets goofy again, and like some of the characters in it, it's like I don't know, it's like they feel like they're in a different movie. Like I'm not sure if it's the I don't know, and like
it felt like he wanted to do a giallo, but he could not resist bringing in stupid supernatural elements.
Yeah, that's the thing I hear people comparing it a lot to, but I really haven't seen much giallo films other than like Suspiria and Don't Torture a Duckling. I think those are both giallo. So I don't really have much to compare to, but yeah, like it felt like it could have easily been either type of movie, but just that all the way through, and it would have been better. Because there's stuff like, all right, so the twist, she's having visions of these murders happening, and then it turns out that she's actually the one committing the murders, and that she's like taken over by like the kind of like a parasitic twin, I guess it's called, or whatever. That's like in her back that they cut off as a kid, and pushed it into her brain, which is like such a weird. I don't know why you would just push it like out. That seemed like a weird thing, but like it doesn't really make sense because like early on, and it like hijacks her mind, and then she just sees these things happening as like a dream, like she's there but she's not, and
it's because Gabriel blocks out her memory. It's really her.
Yeah, and like her limbs turn backwards.
The murders.
Yeah, but the weird thing about it is like early on, there's a scene where it's like after I guess she kills the like abusive husband or whatever boyfriend. Okay, yeah, she kills him, and then like she comes down the steps to see like what's going on, and then I guess she chases herself back up. Like I don't know who's chasing her there because it's not just in her mind. I guess you know what I mean because it's like the thing's chasing her. I guess Gabriel is chasing her, And it's like at that point you think it's different from her. But like later
I
on, and also
I
there's a
think it
scene where
was
she's like
shot
looking out the
like that
window,
to confuse us,
and
like
like
to
she's
make
looking at
things.
the yeah, but she's like looking out the window and she sees like I guess like Gabriel appear like outside like a light or something or like a street lamp, and she's like walking towards the house. But it's like what's she even imagining? Like it makes sense that maybe she'd imagine what's happening because she's actually there. Maybe she's just perceiving it differently. But like, why would something actually be chasing her? Like, is that just in her mind? And then she has like a
I
miscarriage. Just
don't
like I don't fucking know.
I don't think there was anything chasing her. I think it was like metaphorical, but it was put there to make us think that Gabriel is different and a second thing from her to hide the twist, even though she was running away from Gabriel, trying to resist killing the husband.
Yeah, I guess that makes
But she couldn't
sense.
really
Yeah,
stop it because he was taking over.
yeah. But like that twist, and like there's a scene when you see like I think it's a tape. It's like the sister goes to like the old this weird like abandoned castle, like or it's like this like castle on a
It's
hill.
the asylum
Yeah,
hospital
yeah.
thing
That
that
like that Madison was there when she was younger with twin Gabriel on her back, and anyway, she gets like a video of the sister, and then comes back and they're watching it with like the mother, and it's like kind of revealed like her as like a kid, Madison. She like turns around, and you see like this fucking like creepy thing in her back, and like that was a good scene. Like that was like it's kind of cheesy and ridiculous, but like it was actually kind of cool, and like you see like a I think you see like a surgery or something. Like that whole
yeah.
part, like but like if they didn't play it so seriously in some parts and so over the top goofy in other parts, I feel like it could have been a good movie, you know?
I feel like they should have, or he should have stuck to the more goofy B element instead of adding like he should have just made it a straight like mo- modern day B movie.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I don't think it needed all those like kind of generic plot beats that's kind of just I don't know. That's the thing I was thinking. It almost feels like James Wan wanted to make a film that's just really this like
Self-aware.
yeah, it's like almost self aware, cheesy, over the top. People are saying it's like Raimi-esque, like Sam Raimi, but I don't really
I
think
don't
it's.
see it at all.
Yeah, I don't really get the comparison, but like I feel like you want like a modern day B movie, but with a big budget. But like then maybe it's almost like maybe the studio said like, you know, you got to make this maybe a bit more like the Conjuring movies, or like a bit like you know his other stuff, just so maybe we can market it better. Because like all the trailers, I think I saw like one trailer, and it looked like it was like another Conjuring movie or something, and like it definitely has those elements. Like it has like the kind of the it's not really haunting, but like in like the Conjuring or something, there's like those like haunting scenes where someone walks around a house unaware that there's some like evil entity in there with and like it has those scenes. It has a scene where like she like goes back into her memories or something, and that reminded me of like Insidious.
Yeah.
There's like a similar scene in Insidious when like they go into like the paranormal realm or something. I kind of forget, but also I guess you can say like the gore stuff is like Saw, but like I saw some people saying that, but like it's not. Saw isn't like the first Saw isn't. That's not really what it's like. It's more of like a crime thriller. So I don't know. But yeah, it's just I feel like it kind of fails on both levels since it tries to do both.
Yeah.
And other people seem to love it. It's like, oh, you know, this is like a really fun. You know, it doesn't take itself too seriously. But there's other parts where it does. Like, there's a scene when Madison she's talking to her sister, and she kind of reveals that she's adopted, and she's like, "Oh, I'm adopted," and it's like this like it's supposed to be like emotional, but it's like so like stupid. Like I couldn't tell if that was supposed to be like funny or not, and like then it cuts to like serious music, and that's another thing they keep playing the um, Safari Riot remix of "Where's My Mind" throughout it, like 3 or 4
I didn't
times.
even catch that.
Yeah, there's like a I recognized it. I kept thinking of this. There's like a trailer. I think it's fan made. I think it's a fan made trailer on YouTube for Fight Club that uses that music. And it's this Safari Riot remix of "Where's My Mind." I don't even know what the fuck I'm going on about. You have anything else to say?
We have not talked about that finale,
Yeah, yeah, big finale.
which I like kind of enjoyed it and like wow, this is okay, props to them for going this route, but this is bad. I don't know. It was very weird. It pretty much like turned into a fucking action movie, like some Matrix bullshit
It
with the
reminded me of
fucking
like,
slaughtering.
yeah, it also kind of reminded me of like Upgrade, like the fighting style,
I haven't
with the
seen
camera.
Upgrade.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's like Leywinell. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just such a weird thing to have like this giant like gory like action scene. Um, After like parts of it that try to take itself so seriously. And, like, yeah, she's in the prison cell with like I think it's like Zoe Bell from like fucking what's she in? What's it? Tarantino movie is she in?
Zoe Bell. Isn't it Death Proof?
Yeah, Death Proof. And like they're like beating her up, and then she like becomes Gabriel, I guess, takes over, and like you see it like coming out of the back of her head, and it's got like little teeth and stuff, and then she's just fighting and like breaking people's arms, and, like crushing people's heads, and like punching through people. Like it's a cool scene. Like I really enjoyed that. Like but it's just like if it was consistently like that, like if the whole movie was like that, and then she what happens? What the fuck happens? She like traps Gabriel. That's what the thing's called.
Yeah.
She like traps him in her mind, I guess, or like kind of in the back of her mind. And
Yeah.
like they're in like a hospital room with like her sister and mother, and like she's Gabriel.
I was confused about the locations towards the end of the movie.
Yeah, me too, because they're like in a police station, and then
they're in the hospital. Like what?
Yeah, but and like you see him or you see her like as Gabriel, she like kills the sister and the mother, and I thought like, oh okay, I didn't think they were gonna do that, and then it's fake, and like it was kind of a fake out, and she like traps Gabriel like in the back of her mind, and it's like this giant like prison door.
Yeah.
It's like dark with like a prison door, and she like shuts it and says like, "I'll be waiting for you next time," and like I don't know, it just felt cheesy. And also, there's this whole element where like Gabriel is like the devil, I guess. Like she's like as a kid, like she says like, "Oh, it's the devil," which is okay. I don't really see why they needed to do that. I mean, the twist was kind of ridiculous that there's like a parasitic twin or whatever on her back that they pushed into her brain. But like, why does it need to be the devil? Like, I don't know. Does he do anything supernatural in it?
Gabriel, but Gabriel.
Yeah,
he had a very cool design.
Yeah, he's got like the backwards arms, and he like walks. He walks really weird, like the walking backwards and
like the Exorcist.
Yeah. I guess there is kind of that element, kind of like a possession type of thing when he takes over. But just having the element that is like this like supernatural or something. Like he like controls electricity for some reason too.
Yeah.
Like he makes like lights go out, and maybe that's just the power of fetuses, because apparently he like ate our other fetuses. I don't know. I guess maybe it could be like, because apparently like Madison's mother was like raped or something when she was like a teenager, and that's why she had this weird kid. I guess you could say it's like some kind of Rosemary's Baby type thing, where it's like, I don't fucking know. Like maybe that's why it's this weird parasitic cancer mutant form thing. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say about Malignant. I didn't really care for it. I gave it like 2 stars.
Yeah, I feel like it could have been shorter. It was like 2 hours. Probably could have been like 80 to 90 minutes. One thing I wrote down. Yeah, there's that big goofy or over the top gory action scene, and then it's like gets real serious, and like she says to her sister, like it's basically because earlier on she said like she wanted a real blood connection with someone because I guess she's adopted. So then at the end it's basically like the real blood connection was the friends we made along the way. I don't know. It was yeah. I'm about the same as you. I would give it like a 5 out of 10. Like I enjoyed watching it. I mean, just like some of the cliches, it's like, are they really doing this? And the other parts that I think are actually good, they're like I enjoyed watching. Like some of the gore was fun. Like parts of it are fun, and parts of it are unintentionally funny. But like overall, it's a mess. And it is pretty entertaining if you can get past the. I mean, it's not that long, but kind of. if you can kind of get past the length and kind of the, I don't know, messiness of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a good
Yeah.
conversation out of that. Now,
our next film would be
next
Se7en.
film, which was recommended by you.
Yes, sir.
Se7en from 1995, directed by David Fincher.
Starring Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman.
Yes, and
someone else that we will not name.
Yes.
Till we get to it. Yeah, so Se7en
it's my favorite buddy cop movie.
Se7en's about two detectives who discover some elaborate and grisly murders, and they soon realize that they're dealing with a serial killer. And the serial killer starts getting in their heads, and it's realized that this had all been planned out, and yeah. Oh, yeah, and the kills are in order of the 7 deadly sins.
Yes. So this is a kind of a classic at this point. And I really love this film. It's up there with some of my favorite. It's one of my favorite serial killer movies, up there with like House of Jackville and Cure. It's a classic for a reason because it's very good. So we start out with Morgan Freeman. I think his name is William Somerset.
Yeah.
And he gets a new partner, Brad Pitt. David Mills is his name. And yeah, like then
movie
things
starts
happen.
Out and Morgan Freeman is at the scene of a crime. Where
also spoilers for this. This will be a full spoiler discussion. So,
and it turns out like the wife had shot the husband, and Freeman asks if the kids saw it, but he gets mouthed off by a fucking shitty cop who ignores him. And then Brad Pitt walks up. That's where the two meet. And it's as they talk, it's revealed that Freeman has a week left on the force
before he retires.
Yeah, and interesting thing about the opening scene is that it was not the original intended opening scene. The intended opening scene was supposed to be a train ride to a farmhouse that Somerset, I guess, was his ideal dream house.
Oh yeah, because you watched the commentary track, right?
Yeah,
so which I did not. Got some juicy info.
Yeah,
nice.
And it's supposed to be his dream house and everything, but they couldn't get Freeman because I guess they were done filming Freeman and he was busy at the time. So they just went with another scene. Obviously, they couldn't get him to film the train scene, and the train scene would be like too much to film, so they never went with it.
Yeah. So Morgan, Somerset. He's like, it's an interesting dynamic between Mills and Somerset, because Mills being like the it's not really a rookie type of thing, but it's like he's way more inexperienced than Somerset, and he's more what's the word, like
he's from a different area. He's not from a crime-riddled city. He's like from suburbia.
Yeah,
kind of.
And it's kind of like brash, and Somerset's more like he's gonna retire, and he's kind of
calm and collected.
Yeah, it reminds me a bit of like Tommy Lee Jones' character in No Country for Old Men, the sheriff character in that, where he's kind of just done with it all. He's just kind of done with like dealing with kind of the shit.
He doesn't understand the city anymore.
Yeah, it's
he doesn't get why people do what they do and how the what's the word I'm looking for? The gruesomeness of the crimes committed.
Yeah, like at one point he says like something. A guy was mugged for his wallet a couple blocks from here, and walking his dog, and then the guy stabbed both his eyes out, or something like that. And I was like, yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, it's actually very similar to No Country for Old Men, but anyway, their dynamic between the two characters is really good, and like you've seen this type of thing in other films, like say like Lethal Weapon. It has a similar type of thing. Like Danny Glover's like, oh, what is it? I'm too old for this shit.
Old veteran who's about to retire and rookie detective who's new to the scene.
But like in this, it never feels like it's just like, but in this, it never just feels like it's like a gimmick. Like it's just like this kind of, like it really works in this, and that's one of the main things I love about it is how character driven it is. Because even though it is a serial killer movie, and that's the main thing, it's not like
it's not like very open with its. I don't know how to say it. Like the city, for example, is very rainy all the time.
Yeah,
and like
I think it's like
the
raining,
rain is an ominous mask, if you will. It like masks not only like the city that they're in, but like the true reality of everything in a way.
Yeah, and like I think it's actually raining in like every scene outside, except for the scene at the end. Yeah, which also something else interesting, but I don't want to get ahead of myself.
Yeah.
So,
but I don't think the city is never named. I'm pretty sure it's basically New York City, but it's like in a fictional world because obviously the location at the end isn't next to New York City. But I know most of these it was mostly set building, actually. They didn't film it like on location anywhere, I think, for a lot of it. I mean, they did in some areas, but there was a lot of set building, I know, which works because it's easier to mask like the city.
Yeah, there's a lot of it just takes place indoors and like the police station and like the different crime scenes they visit.
And the first crime scene, the duo visits, whatever.
Yeah. And like there is the one scene that's like kind of a chase, like towards the middle, and they go outside for a bit. But like overall, yeah, it's mostly inside stuff. Has that great dark. It's got that great like dark, gritty, green Fincher aesthetic that he's kind of known for, which I really love.
It's got a nice neo noir kind of vibe.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so it starts out that I think they just go to a crime scene and they're not even really sure if it's a crime scene or not, or if some dude just died. And it's the first victim, the gluttony victim.
Which is a pretty nasty scene because
it's a huge fat guy that was force-fed to death. Which I kind of want to say it's like one of the most grotesque ones. I mean, yeah, even though there's some pretty sick stuff later. I don't know. It's just something about the idea of being like force-fed like spaghetti till it like your stomach bursts, and like I don't know. It's just like it's like sitting there like with his head in a bowl of spaghetti, and like there's like a bucket of vomit, and like Brad Pitt like sniffs it. That was always kind of gross. Like,
and it's interesting to think about because later on in the movie, the killer talks about has a nice little. We'll touch on it more later. Has a nice little speech about why he does the things he does.
Yeah,
and he argues that everyone he's killed were sinners, and gluttony may be one of the 7 deadly sins, but usually it's not like something you murder someone over with,
Yeah. Yeah, that's something we'll may talk about in a bit, but like I do think that we'll kind of get to that more, but yeah, I don't think that the guy deserved to die. Maybe
obviously, well, there's some later victims that
Yeah, like there's
First
some
five,
later that are
but
like,
none of them
yeah.
really deserve to die in the way that they died.
Oh yeah, for sure. But like, yeah, I don't think just like being, I don't know, gluttony or like being like overweight as the dude apparently was is like enough to I don't know. We'll get to like his justification for everything he does later. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just
I wanted to
it's
highlight the lighting in the scene also. It's perfect. It's never the power is off in the building where they find a dead guy. So all of the lighting is from outside and flashlights pretty much.
Yeah.
So you never see the guy until the autopsy scene.
Yeah.
But it does a very good job of building suspense and what's the word I'm looking for? Disgust, maybe?
Yeah. Yeah. It is a pretty gross
You get the
scene.
impression that this man has tortured for a while and his house has gone into a mess or wherever the fuck he was living.
Yeah. And like afterwards, they're talking about it, and Morgan Freeman, Somerset says like, I don't think this was just like a one-off thing. Like the guy says like, oh no, it was probably just someone has something against him and decided to torture him to death.
Yeah, he
But
argues with the police chief, which is Arlie Ermey, great actor. Yep. But yeah, he argues with the police chief that this isn't a one-off. He doesn't believe him. And then Brad Pitt gets assigned to another case, which turns out to be the next exact case that Morgan Freeman was talking about.
Yeah, it's the I think
it's Greed.
Yeah,
it's Greed, and it's the lawyer who was probably a big lawyer for the I forget what his exact position was. I think it was like a lawyer for the city or something.
Yeah, because they say like he kept like murderers and rapists on the street, like type of thing.
He was very rich for a lawyer, and he had a nice little office in a nice building. But he was killed for greed.
And he was forced to cut off a pound of flesh, Saw 6 style. little reference.
I really like the layout of the crime scene, especially that shot from above where Brad Pitt like is standing there next to the word greed, and you see how it's all laid out.
Yeah, written in blood on the floor, and yeah. Anyway, after that point, or Somerset, he realizes that that he's right basically, and that they're doing he starts researching it in like the library, about like the 7 deadly sins, and it's like there's going to be 5 more, and
yeah,
it's really interesting like the like how he's kind of like intellectual, but he's never played off as like his character is just like, oh, he's like really smart. It's like he is, but like there's like more to his character than that.
Yeah, he isn't.
He's not like a know-it-all type intellectual, but
he
obviously is
different from the other cops in the city. The other cops are pretty like straight to the point. Don't worry about why people do things. Just solve the crime, get over it.
Yeah, because there's like that. There's that great scene when they're like sitting there waiting.
The I think. Right? Oh wait, what? Oh yeah, that one.
Oh yeah, that too. Like when he asks about the kid, but there's that scene when they're sitting there waiting for what is it? Like the names to match or something.
The fingerprints.
Or fingerprints to match. Yeah, that's it. And he's talking about how like feudal police work is basically. It's like we're just here to like get the details and the facts and just keep it just in case it ever gets used in court. And like how it's kind of
he's always thinking ahead.
Yeah, and like Brad Pitt's character, I forget his name.
In the moment.
David? Yeah, and he's like more maybe idealistic about it. Like, I'm gonna make a difference,
Very passionate, but naive in a way.
Yeah.
But he wants to do the job right. It's David Mills, by the way.
Yeah, David Mills. But and yeah, he's more a bit more naive about it. Like he thinks he's gonna like he's like really making a difference as a policeman. or detective or whatever. And you know, Somerset's more like jaded about it. He's more like
He's jaded.
pessimistic.
He's ready to quit.
Yeah, he's like, and he's also like, he doesn't want to. He kind of. It's obvious that he's very interested in the case. The whole serial killer thing, but like he doesn't. He's like kind of resisting because he doesn't want to just go down a. Like it could be something that like isn't resolved for like years or whatever, and like he doesn't want to, but he's obviously like he's interested. Like he's sending Mills. He gives him like an envelope saying like check out these books about the 7 Deadly Sins and stuff. Like even though he says like I don't want to be on this case anymore, he's obviously into it, which is interesting. And there's that kind of funny scene when Mills is like. He gets in his car and he's like reading, I think it's like Dante's Inferno or something. And he's like, "Fucking Dante!"
Yeah,
goddamn poetry writing faggot piece of shit. I was like throwing it, and it's like, yeah, because he's like he doesn't really know what that is. He's not really into that whole thing. And then the guy, like a policeman, walks up and says, "Oh, here's whatever you asked for, or whatever." It's an envelope, and it's like the cliff notes of the book. So he like gets the gist of it. I thought that was pretty funny. He's like, I don't know if it's really like. Uncultured is the word, but he's not. He's very different from Somerset. Like
he's
he's reading the books and it's like, oh, it's Marcus de Sade, and like, I don't know. Yeah, he's I don't know. That was pretty funny.
But getting back to the plot a little, and back to the lawyer who was representing Greed, they then. They find a photo in his office with glasses or binoculars, if you will, around his wife's eyes. So they follow that lead to the wife, and they show her photos, and she notices that a picture is upside down in the house. Or not the house, my bad. The office. So they go, and they find, what is it? Help me?
Written in like fingerprints.
Yeah, on the wall behind the painting, and that leads to the fingerprint scene.
Yeah,
but,
they're matching him up and they're waiting, and the scene when he's like talking about the police work or whatever, and I do like how the two characters, Mills and Summers, said at first they don't really like each other that much, and then they kind of they get used to each other, and like by the end of it they like each other. Not that they're like gay, but like they're I don't fucking know what I'm saying. They're like.
Actually, have something to say about that when we get there, but we're kind of like jumping around a bit.
All right, sorry. Yeah.
But I wanted to add to the autopsy scene for the gluttony corpse. It's very fast if you don't notice it, but they gave the guy a big old cock.
Yeah.
And they made him well endowed because the actor, he was in makeup for like 10 hours, and then he had to wait for the crew to get ready to shoot the scene for like 10 hours. So he was just sitting there in makeup in a nasty environment for like 10 hours. So they were like, "Hey, let's lend him a hand and give him a huge cock. That's the least we can do."
That's funny. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Where were we?
We're the clues leading to the third victim.
Yeah. Which is
they find the lead, and the police chief thinks it's their guy, and
because of the fingerprints.
Yeah, and Somerset's kind of sus about it. He's like, "I don't know, man. I don't fucking trust him." Yeah, like I don't know.
Yeah, he doesn't think that he would have been that careless to leave fingerprints, since he's so meticulous with everything he's done at this point.
And like the victim, well, spoiler alert, that guy becomes the victim, or is the victim. But he makes the point how whoever's doing this killing is very smart about it, and he doesn't think this guy would have been as smart about it.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
like
everything took time and planning, and he knew what he was doing.
yeah, like there's a great part when they're Mills and Somerset. Mills says like, oh, he's just a nutball, he's just, and he kind of just dismisses him as like, oh, he's crazy, and Somerset's like, no, you shouldn't, I don't know,
Yeah,
like,
shouldn't belittle him.
yeah, belittle him, and like he's clearly insane, but like, he's not just like a I don't know, raving lunatic. He's very meticulous and calculated and smart about what he's doing, and like in a way, like Somerset kind of like respects him like that. He obviously doesn't like what he's doing, but like he respects
the
how the execution
ambition
of it, kind of. Yeah.
and the fuck, what's the word? The discipline to keep doing this.
Yeah, especially after the next victim, the sloth victim, which is probably the most like fucked up out of all of them.
Yeah. So
they go there.
go out with the SWAT members and they burst into this guy, the third victim, who is a drug dealer and child molester. The SWAT breaks in and they find the guy strapped to the bed, emaciated and barely alive, representing Sloth.
And that's really cool because like you think he's just dead, and then there's like that jump scare where like the guy like goes in close and is like or whatever, and like I don't know, that was kind of a.
That guy is John C. McGinley. He's fuck, I forget his name, but he's one of the doctors from Scrubs.
Oh, I don't watch that show.
Yeah, I didn't realize he was in there. And also, I wanted to note that the guy doing the autopsy, Dr. Santiago, was an Oz from HBO's Oz. He was an HBO Oz alumni, which is fun for me because I love Oz. So it's always fun to see a cast member pop up in something.
Yeah.
But they examine the scene and get the guy out, and they're talking downstairs, and a photographer pops up. And
but also wait, before we get to that, there's also there was images I think of like.
Oh yeah, the photographs.
I'm not sure if it was every day, but like it was like they were dated. The photographs of him going back to that day was exactly 1 year.
Over a year from when he was abducted.
Yeah, which is really like kind of disturbing that he was like there like that for a whole year. And it's like all fucked up, and like they say like apparently his brain's like turned to mush and he chewed his own tongue off. Yeah, it just looks really like creepy with like the hair and the way his face looks. It's a really cool scene. And like I love that there's
zombie,
like
basically.
Yeah, there's like air fresheners like hanging all over. That was kind of a cool
cool little note to avoid the smell that would have caused.
Yeah. But yeah, the scene with the
which is kind of an interesting way to get rid of the smell, but whatever.
Yeah, wouldn't it just mask it though? And wouldn't it be like very strongly overpowering?
I'm not sure
smell?
like car air fresheners would help with that smell much, but
I guess he's not really dead though, so it's not like he's like rotting. I don't know.
But,
yeah, that would smell pretty good.
The apartment complex didn't really seem very like a good place for people. Seemed to be filled with some sketchy people anyway. So I'm not sure like, people cared to begin with.
They say like the guy, the owner or whatever, said like he was like a great tenant because his payment was always was always on time or whatever.
But they never really checked up on him. No need to. But as they're getting back to the conversation by the stairwell, they're talking about the murder, and a photographer pops up. Mills accuses him, or not accuses him, thinks this is paparazzi.
It's like, fuck off.
If you pay close attention, that's actually the serial killer.
Yes, which we don't know.
But you don't know it yet. But if you rewatch it, you'll be able to pick it up. Which is an interesting note because they never really talk about it in the movie. But there's this thing in true crime where the serial killer, not necessarily a serial killer, but the I can't think of what I'm trying to say. The perpetrator of the crime will often show back up at the crime scene.
Yeah, Yeah, to kind
which
of
is
revel in it.
technically what he was doing, but he was also messing with the detectives at the same time. They just didn't know it yet.
Also, like, he took a picture of Mills, and he's like apparently bought him. We'll get to it later. I mean, we're talking spoilers, obviously, but I don't know. He like bought information from the
A dirty cop.
yeah, for like where he lives and his wife and stuff, which we'll talk about later. But after this point, I kind of forget what happens. It's kind of a lull in the movie, I think. Not that it's boring or anything, or not that it slows down, but like it does kind of slow down for a bit. There's a part when they go to like the
We forgot the dinner scene.
yeah, that's what I was about to say.
The
Like they go to
which actually took place a little bit before. I think it was after the first victim or the second victim.
somewhere in there. I've only seen this movie twice. I'm not like I'm not
I saw it twice today. Which I've seen it like 3 times in total now.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I'm not like an expert on it because
But Morgan Freeman describes that scene as like the penultimate scene because it's the scene where everything from Somerset's whole approach on the situation changes because he realizes that like this guy's actually not that bad, and he has a wife, and
he likes to play with dogs.
Yeah, so he gets a little bit of characterization of Mills, and
that's the turning point of
the film.
He likes to play with dags, because Brad Pitt and Snatch would say, "All right, I'm getting off track." Yeah, that's a great scene. That whole sequence, like plot wise, for the whole serial killer part of the movie. Well, that's the whole movie, but like for that doesn't really have anything to do with that part. It's just kind of the character building, and that's what I think is really great because it's like they're all really good characters. They're not like one note, It's like Somerset's a really good character. Mills is a great character. Even the wife, even though she's not in it, played by Gwyneth Paltrow, she's not in it a whole lot. But like the parts she's in, she's still an interesting character,
Like, she's in it for like a couple of scenes, only 2 major scenes, really.
Yeah.
But David Fincher was actually talking about that during that part, that how important characterization is and how important the actor's role is in the film to build up that character and take it to where they believe it should go, along with the director's input. It's like the actor's job to treat their character right, and the director's job to fit that into the whole picture.
Yeah.
And that scene is a really good example of that. Which I want to also note that Brad Pitt seemed to be very involved in this character. Because if you notice, his ties are not very formal ties. They all have like basketballs or soccer balls on them.
I didn't notice that.
And that was all Brad Pitt, because Brad Pitt was the one who chose the ties. And he wanted those ties because it thought it fit the character. Like, the character didn't care about the suit and tie shit. He just cared about solving the case or doing his job.
Yeah, it's more
and
informal.
He comes from a more rural area anyways, so just kind of got that suburban vibe to him.
That's a interesting detail. I didn't notice it.
Yeah, and
but yeah, that whole scene. That whole scene is kind of, they just kind of chill and eat dinner, and like a train goes by, and I like the part when then they're like kind of like laughing at just the situation of having like a place next to a train or whatever. Like it's just it's a really great scene. It's probably one of the best scenes in the movie, I'd say. Even though there's not like something really interesting happening with the whole serial killer thing.
Soft point
character
in
moment.
The movie about dementia shit. But going back to where we were, the detectives then use library records to identify a John Doe.
Yeah, because like apparently the FBI keeps tabs on like who checks out what in case they say like something if they took out like Mein Kampf or something,
on nuclear weapons.
Yeah, and also and Mark Boone Jr. I think is his name, plays the guy.
Yeah.
he's credited as Greasy FBI Man, which I always
He's
I like
from
Mark
Sons of
Cohen
Anarchy.
Jr. I like him. I always refer to him as Rat Cop because in the movie Too Fast, Too Furious, he gets tortured with a rat. So I just call him Rat Cop.
I completely forgot he was in that.
Yeah, I don't know why there's nothing particularly memorable about his character in that, but I always just call him Rat Cop, which sounds like an 80s schlocky movie. Rat Cop. It's like Wolf Cop, except for not.
He turns into a rat.
I'd watch that.
Stuart Little is now the man.
But yeah, if the FBI actually keeps tabs on what people like, if they do that with like what people watch like online, I'm in big trouble. I'm kidding.
I don't think they really do that unless it gets to like a severe point where it's like everyday habits. It's like, oh, they do it once, maybe they accidentally stumbled upon it, or
you obviously haven't seen my browsing history.
Or wanted to try something out, but it didn't work out. But anyways.
Yeah, but they end up finding because like that apparently Somerset tells Mills it's like, you know, can't tell anyone about this because it's like, I guess it's illegal for him to do that and get the FBI involved and stuff. And then they go to the guy's apartment, and I think that's where he has the name John Doe on his library card, wasn't it? Serial killer. Yeah, and they go there, and it's like that's the one point where they actually get like one step ahead of him, because like for the rest of the movie, John Doe, he's like 10 steps ahead of him, and that's something I really love about it. I love movies when it's like the characters aren't actually in control of what's happening. You know, it's like especially or like, and like this is like a serial killer. Reminds me of the film Cure, the Japanese film, which is similar in that way. I think I brought it anyway. And yeah, so they finally get ahead of it, but it's like that's illegal, so they really can't tell anyone. And you know, he shoots at him. They like go up and they're knocking on his door, and then he like walks up and he's shooting at him. There's like a little chase, which is a really good scene. And he gets Brad Pitt, and he like knocks him down. I think he hits him with like a crowbar or something. And he's gonna kill him. And then he doesn't. And was it because he didn't want to? Or was it because Somerset was going to come and they would have heard the gunshot? Was that it? Or did he just like... Because later in the movie he says like, oh, I spared
because he had more plans and he kind of wanted to be found anyways. Like, in a way, to like fulfill the whole 7 kills, he would have needed to keep Mills alive.
Yeah. And, and he runs off and escapes. And then they like, you know, they say, we can't break into his...
apartment without
a warrant, and like we aren't even supposed to be here because it's like how are people going to know that we got here? So then they like bribe a homeless person and say like, I don't know, what was it, like they saw someone that they thought were
something,
and so then they decide to call Somerset. And I was like, why the fuck would they know? Like, who would have called that? But anyway, it's like and like Brad Pitt like kicks the door in, and then they find like all the stuff. Yeah, it's something really interesting. They find like the John Doe's like
notebooks.
Yeah, and they're all like they're not dated, and they're like he said like they're just pretty much in random order since there's no dates, and like it's all his like personal thoughts and like all his like stuff. Just like I don't know, I kind of want to read those, like just from like the little bit he was like saying, oh, that's pretty interesting, and like he's got all his stuff.
Mills finds the photos that he took earlier in the bathtub.
Yeah.
And then the phone starts ringing. John Doe's on the phone. And he tells him pretty much that you got me this time, but I'm upping my schedule, so you better be ready. Pretty much.
Yeah, he's kind of... it's not really quite taunting him, but like in a way it is, and like he's also it's like informing him that they didn't really...
do anything.
Yeah, they didn't really do anything, which is interesting. After this point, let's see what happens. I know the next one is the lust one.
I I don't remember the clue that led to the other murder. To be honest, some reason.
I know they end up going to like a BDSM shop or something, and they see and the guy says like, "Oh yeah, I made this special." I kind of forget why they went there. Was it something they found in his apartment?
It was like something in the books that told them leather. It was like an ad or something or a photo. So they go to the shop. They have a photo of whatever. They never show the photo, so
they do because I think it's like the knife dildo basically. I'm pretty sure that's what the guy made
later, but not at the initial
Yeah, but I think that's what it was, and yeah, then they go to I think
it was
it's
a
just
bladed strap-on.
Yeah, which leads to the lust victim, which is like it's like in the basement of like it's like in the basement of like a BDSM
parlor.
club.
It's listed as a massage parlor in the credits, so I guess that's what it was. It's like an underground.
I thought it was like some kind of club because they're like blasting like industrial metal or something. And that's a massage parlor. I was under the impression it was like some kind of like BDSM club for some reason. I don't know why.
I'm not sure. It's a shady underground area for sex. That's all you need to know.
And yeah, prostitute.
John
Doe found a guy and said, you
got a raper.
With
trigger warning.
Oh yeah, I guess
trigger warning for the whole episode.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty dark movie. It's pretty, and like the thing is that's so fucked up about it is like you never actually see it. I mean, you kind of see like it's obscured from view, the actual like aftermath or whatever. But like
it's really fucked up to think about.
But like it's like you only see the guy's reaction, the guy who's forced to do it, and like just something about it makes it more disturbing. Then like I guess I don't know. It's like like the whole film you only see the aftermaths of the deaths. Or the crimes, and I don't know, just the guy is like sitting there, is just like violently shaking. He's like obviously like heavily traumatized by it.
Then they interview the guys, and that really doesn't go anywhere. But like that whole thing happens. Then the next day, they attend the scene of a fifth victim, which is a model whose face has been mutilated by Doe, and she was given the option to like call for help and live disfigured, or commit suicide by taking pills, and she chose the suicide option,
which is very Jigsaw-esque in my opinion.
Pride.
That felt like something
it is.
It would be like make a choice, live or die, type of thing. Like I guess both of their names are John Doe and John Kramer. Anyway, I feel like that one was kind of
rushed, maybe
and maybe a bit lacking.
Well, I guess it is rushed because he was trying to increase the frequency, and basically everything in that same day, like from the finding the fifth victim to the end of the movie, is the same day.
Yeah.
So he kills the next victim to pretty much like distract him while he goes off and does his thing. We'll get to it.
Yeah.
And so as Somerset and Mills return to the police station, Mr. Doe turns up and turns himself in, covered in the blood of an unidentified victim.
Yeah, it was Kevin Spacey.
Which
he, I mean, say what you will, he's a controversial person because of things he's done. But I think he's a great actor. He's a great actor, and he's great in this.
Great actor, but yeah,
he's a shitty person. But yeah, in this he's like he plays a serial killer very well. He's kind of perfect for it in a way.
Yeah. Actually, another interesting thing about Spacey and the character of John Doe, they really fought for Spacey as Doe because they almost couldn't get him at once, and Brad Pitt was like the main guy, like really advocating for Spacey to be John Doe. And Lee Ermey actually originally came in for John Doe, but and Fincher said it was a really interesting interpretation of John Doe, but wasn't what he was looking for.
Yeah.
So they asked him if he wanted to be the police chief, and he was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" So that's how he ended up in the movie.
Interesting.
I know I'm jumping around here, but
that's fine. That's fine. We always
I
do that.
did miss to mention, or failed to mention that little fun fact: the library is actually the bank building from The Mask.
I haven't seen The Mask.
It's pretty solid. It's a fun little film. But anyways, back to where we were.
Oh yeah, so John Doe turns himself in, and he's got his fingerprints cut off, like his finger, so he doesn't.
Which you can actually see happen in the opening scene.
Yeah,
if you're
fuck,
paying it,
I didn't
not the
mention
opening
it.
scene, but the opening credits.
How did I not fucking mention that? I love the opening credit sequence of this. This has like, it's just like, it's got like the creepy imagery of like John Doe putting stuff in his journal, and him doing like the fingers and stuff, and like you hear Nine Inch Nails Closer, the remix. It's called Closer Precursor on the Downward Spiral album. And playing over it, it's like, man, I love Nine Inch Nails, and like it's just really interesting because like in a way, just like generally song, it works perfectly for it. But what?
I was gonna say the credits are like a little peek into like John Doe, but you don't know it yet.
And
they actually filmed the whole like opening credits were shot in, I don't remember where it was exactly, but a crew member's house by the crew member, and he spent like countless hours filming it in his own house.
That's interesting. But yeah, like maybe I'm stretching or here, but the song "Closer" by Nine Inch Nails. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Nine Inch Nails stuff, but
well, not too much, but I know the song.
Yeah, I feel like it almost connects like thematically, because it's like,
I'm not too familiar with the lyrics, but I know.
Okay, yeah, it's like something. My whole existence is flawed. You get me closer to God, which is basically the lyrics. I feel like that kind of connects thematically with like John Doe, and I don't know. Maybe I'm stretching here, but like, I mean, the song has a sexual. It's more sexual in nature compared to what John Doe's doing. But like, I feel like there's something there. Maybe I don't know. But also, like at the end, during the ending credits, "Heart's Filthy Lesson" by David Bowie from the album Inside is playing, which also kind of connects thematically to it because it's about that whole album is about a detective on a case about someone who kills for like art. So I don't know. I just that connected thematically, and then also I feel like maybe there's something there with Closer. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm just. Oh, there's also like a. Fuck. I don't know. I can talk more about David Bowie's Outside album another time. It's underrated. I think. I think it doesn't get enough appreciation. But sorry, where were we before we went to the opening credits? Anyway, I love the opening credits, and like, it's just so cool. They're like so cool, and like it sets the tone for the film perfectly. And also, actually, a lot of films after this have a similar vibe. Like I'm thinking specifically like The Collector, that film. I really like that film, and even like
Saw.
Yeah, Saw, and even like fucking Malignant had a similar like opening credits with like music and the different imagery of stuff and like papers and journals or whatever. I feel like that kind of set the. I mean, maybe there's something before that that I just don't know of, but like I feel like after that, that kind of made it a thing to make that type of opening credits with like the gritty, creepy vibe.
David was in the commentary notes that someone was like, "How are we going to shoot the credits?" And we're like, "Just normal way, like simple." Or I don't really know the whole film lingo behind opening credits, but he was like, "Why do that?" And like, why have the lettering straight? And if you notice, like the credits are like the letters are a little wobbly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like sketchy, and he felt that it fit the character of John Doe.
Yeah. It's just probably my favorite opening credits scene.
Interesting.
But yeah, back to John Doe turns himself in, and he says that he will sign a full confession to the crimes if he gets to go out with Mills and Somerset into the desert and show them where the last two victims are. And they're like, I don't know, but apparently it's gonna say claim or what's the word? Claim insanity, and like maybe not that he'd really get out of it, but like they wouldn't be able to
really win the case.
Yeah, and so then they decide to, and they
during the drive, they conversate with John Doe,
which is a great scene.
This
film is made up of great scenes.
Spacey in this whole like segment while they're driving and talking philosophically about these crimes and why he did so, and his motives.
Which really makes you look at the film kind of in a different way, and just like, I think it's interesting because he's like, apparently he thinks he's like a
savior. He was meant to do this. He was told to do this.
Yeah.
And Freeman argues against that because if you were forced by hand to do this, you wouldn't enjoy it so much.
Yeah, and then he's like, he's kind of fucking with Mills a little bit because, like, he's like cocky. Mills is kind of cocky because it's like, we got you, and it's just like saying like, you're clearly insane and like this or that, and like he's saying stuff that's kind of fucking with him. Like he says, what does he say? Something.
I don't remember.
It's like, I spared you. This is the only reason that you're here right now is because I didn't kill you. And like that, and then his whole thing is like how his philosophy of like how people let like sin slide, and it's so common now that people don't even think about it, and that all the people he killed were deserving of their death. Which is, it's interesting because it's like it's not just a typical serial killer nutball killing people for fun. It's like he does have this whole thing, this whole philosophy, and like obviously, like, and like obviously that it's not right what he's doing, and like what he's saying is kind of whack. Like obviously I don't think the people deserve to die that he killed. I mean, maybe the sloth guy, he was like a pedophile. I mean, fuck him. But I don't know. It's almost like he's got a point to what he's saying. I feel like that kind of fucks with Mills a little bit. I don't know. And and then they go out into the desert.
The directions lead the detectives to some desert. Also, there's a helicopter
following them. Yes.
But that's not super important. But they get there and they're standing there, and then a van starts approaching. So Mills makes him get down on his knees and holds Doe at gunpoint, while Somerset goes to intercept the driver, who says he was instructed to deliver a box to the coordinates. And Somerset opens the box, and in a sudden panic tells Mills to stay back. Meanwhile, Doe reveals that he himself represents the sin of envy.
Are you reading the Wikipedia?
Doe explains that he represents envy, and envies the life that Mills had with his wife, so he cut off the head of Mills's wife.
The thing about that is, like, was he actually envy Mills, or was he just doing that as a part of the whole thing? Like, do you think he actually wanted to be like, like a family man type thing?
I'm not sure, because it is noted in the film that John Doe is his life. His bank account was started with like $5,000 from like there was nothing on this guy. He just didn't exist in the world except as John Doe.
Yeah.
Like, he just showed up and it started existing. So, like, I don't really know if he truly envied their life.
It's like he's so devoted to his
because-
thing. It almost seems weird. And, like, also what's weird is, like, did he plan... I mean, it's kind of odd how he planned it out, because it's like, especially earlier on with some of the clues and stuff that he left around, it's like maybe a less smart detective than Somerset would have...
How would he have known?
Yeah, how would he
Mills
have known
was
how
gonna
they...
show up?
And especially also like with like the fingerprints and then the timing with 1 year later of with the sloth victim, and then also how does he know that what he's gonna do to like the detective's wife? I guess, like, I mean, it seems like it's so meticulously planned up until that point.
This facade, I guess. Plans changed after they fucked up by showing up at the house. He probably had a different envy victim planned, but went with Mills because I guess he kind of respects Mills in a way because he's not committing to a life of sin, if you think about it. So he went with Mills because of that?
Yeah, and like, it would be weird for him to meticulously plan out to like the day of the sloth victim being found, and not plan out like, and just planning on being like, all right, whatever detective's working on it, I'm going to be envious of their wife, you know? Like, yeah, I think he just kind of improvised that, but like, it's kind of hard to tell if he actually was envious of it. But anyway, yeah, he
goes on
kills
to antagonize. Well, yeah, he decapitated Head, and he goes on to antagonize Mills by telling him that she begged for her life and they had a baby, which he
which
didn't
she
know,
wasn't aware
but
of.
Somerset had known from a previous dinner conversation, which we skipped over for some reason. I kind of forgot it happened.
Yeah, this is
But
why I don't like going through it like plot beat for plot beat. It kind of throws it off. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, because earlier Tracy, I think is her name.
yeah,
She comes to Somerset because he's the only person she knows in the city since he just moved there, and talks about like, you know, I'm pregnant. I didn't tell him yet, and like, what am I gonna do? I like hate being here. I hate this city. And that was also a good like kind of character scene just between them. But yeah, Mills didn't know. And then when he says that, like, you know, Mills is already, he's like...
It's pretty much set in stone at that
like,
point.
It's like classic, like, what's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the fucking box?
That
and like,
started a meme.
People say that Brad Pitt kind of overacted there, but like, I feel like it's a valid emotional response to finding out your wife's been decapitated. You know, like, it's like freak out there. And apparently, originally, you were supposed to see the decapitated head, and they made one for Gwyneth Paltrow, like a model of it. But they decided not to show it because, like, it's better if you just don't. Then apparently, they used the head in Contagion, like way later.
Oh, interesting.
That's a little fun fact. But so, like, there's just a model of Gwyneth Paltrow's decapitated head, like, sitting in a warehouse somewhere for, like, a long time. Anyway, yeah, then...
Somerset, not Somerset.
Mills becomes Wrath and shoots him, John Doe, and kills him, which completes his plan. Which is very interesting. It's like, that was his plan the whole time, and, like, he wins, you know? Like, I keep comparing it to this. I won't spoil it too much, but it reminds me of the movie Cure. I said that before. And yeah, then there's like the I really like that part when he's like he's like kind of contemplating like, what should he kill him, should he not? You know, he's like very upset, and then you just see like a brief like one frame of Tracy. And then it just does it. It's like it's kind of, it's not really subtle because you see it, but it's like, it's very obvious like what's going through his head at that moment. Yeah, and then he just kind of like empties the whole clip into the guy into John Doe, and you see like the helicopter and it's flying away, and it's like, they have no idea what the fuck is going on because he just shot the guy, and he's like, "What the fuck is going on? Somebody call somebody." Yeah, and then after that, we see like the aftermath. It's like dark, and like Mills is like being driven
away because he's pretty much murdered Doe. So
yeah, I mean he did, but like,
and they say a little word saying that Somerset and the police captain, sorry, and police captain says he'll be treated all right. And he asks where Somerset will be. He says he'll be around. Then the movie ends with a quote by Ernest Hemingway.
Which is interesting. He says he will be around. He's not going to quit or retire.
Yeah.
Which I kind of see as like earlier in the film, he has a conversation with Mills that was like, Mills said, like his whole thing was like, nobody cares about anyone, so like why should I care? That was like Somerset's kind of mindset with the whole thing. And it's like Mills said, I think I think you think this so you can justify retiring, not that you're retiring because you think this, which was interesting. It's like kind of by the end, it's like he realizes that that's true. At least that's how I see it. That's kind of like what he learned from the whole thing. And yeah, the quote from Hemingway that's the world's a fine place and it's worth fighting for. And he says, I agree with the second part, which is interesting. It's like
I get a little chuckle out of it.
Oh fuck! Here's something I was gonna say. I didn't say it earlier. The only death we see on screen is when Mills kills John Doe.
Yeah,
that's the only actual on-screen death. The rest is all we see the aftermath and it's implied. I don't know. It's interesting. I feel like there's something there. It's like he got to the place, like he manipulated them to the point where, kind of the good guy became the killer in the end. I don't know. So what would you rate this? What would you rate this out of 10?
I rated it 4.5 stars out of 5.
Yeah, 9. I would give it the same. 9 out of 10. I really don't have any big flaws with it. I think it's a great film. It's definitely one of my favorite serial killer films. Up there with, like I said before, like
have any flaws with it, it would be how Mills factored into the whole thing. Unless I don't understand, like, I don't know. It's not really explained well how he envied Mills' life, as I mentioned.
Yeah, I do get that, but like I feel like
plans changed.
Yeah, I feel like he it's almost like they're the two characters, Somerset and Mills. They almost go on like reverse arcs of each other. I feel like by the end of it, Mills is probably a lot more cynical about the world and what he's doing as a police officer, and I feel like Somerset kind of is the opposite. He doesn't retire in the end, which is interesting. They kind of go through like opposite character arcs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's like what 2 hours and 6 minutes, I think, which is
7
what,
or 6, whatever.
And it's like a little over 2 hours, and like it really doesn't feel. I mean, the pacing is great. I think it moves by, but it's never like quickly paced, but it's not slowly paced either. I don't know. It's just, I think it's paced great. I mean, it looks great. The acting's great. Very interesting
time I watched
story.
It with the commentary, it felt like I was watching it on 2 times speed. It moved so fast for me.
But yeah, it's one of my favorite serial killer films, up there with the likes of Angst, Cure, Memories of Murder, House of Jack Bill. I don't know why I'm naming serial killer movies I like. But yeah, it's like two main performances really like carry it, I think. That's why I really love it. It's like a character
study.
Yeah, in a way. It's like a character-driven movie. That's what I was trying to say. Very character-driven film, without playing too much into like genre cliches, because it is like, it's really like kind of smart film that it doesn't play into like, like cheap shock or cliches. Despite being like a kind of a graphic genre film in a way. With
Another
the whole
interesting thing. This was only David Fincher's second movie.
Yeah, after Alien 3, if I'm right about that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Man, I didn't even think about that. Yeah. It's like a great second film. But yeah, that's about all I got to say about that. 9 out of 10. Good movie. I would recommend it. All right. So now on to our next film, which you also recommended as a good
companion piece, because it's
a Seven
kind
ripoff.
of yeah. Which, interesting notes before we start. The second detective in this movie is the guy from the club scene.
Oh,
if you didn't notice that.
Which club scene? Yeah, he's credited as crazed man in massage parlor. I don't know who's that. Oh wait, was he the guy that was like forced to rape the girl?
Yeah.
Shit, I didn't even realize that. It is, isn't it?
I saw his face in Seven. I was like, that guy looks familiar. Where the fuck I see him from? Then I was like, oh
Yeah.
wait.
Yeah.
Also, there's an Oz alumni in this movie as well.
Damn, they everywhere, aren't they?
Yeah, for real. Especially in 90s movies. But here we are. Resurrection with.
Wait, who was it? Who was the
it's the big ol' the other squad of FBI agents or whatever, detectives, not FBI agents. The second squad, you know what I mean?
Yes.
He's the black guy.
Okay. But yeah, here we are. Resurrection from 1999, directed by Russell Mulcahy? I don't fucking know.
I don't know. Who has
the director of
directed
Highlander, Resident Evil, Extinction, and Scorpion King 2.
and Razorback.
Scorpion King 2, man. I remember I own the first Scorpion King with The Rock. I should watch it. I don't know. So this movie basically follows the same plot as Seven. You want to give a plot description?
Except it's not about the 7 deadly sins. It's about rebuilding Jesus.
Yes.
With body parts.
Yeah. So I think you liked this film more than I did.
I don't know.
I was like,
I didn't get to rewatch it, but I think I was a bit easy on this film for whatever reason.
Yeah, I didn't really like this because maybe it's because I watched it the day after I watched Seven, and it's like I really shouldn't be comparing it because yeah, it's a ripoff. It's pretty obvious the whole religious serial killer motives and just the structure of the film as well. It's just I think it's so weak compared to Seven. Just the characters. Oh, spoilers for this film as well, by the way. But so there's a detective and his partner, and he's got a wife, and it's pretty much, and there's a killer, crazy killer guy. And the main character, his whole character is basically, he wants to catch the killer, and he has a dead kid. And it just wasn't, I don't know. And the partner is just kind of the snarky quip dispenser, and he tells corny jokes. And and the one thing I really didn't like was the killer. He's just a crazy dude who's rebuilding the body of Christ with rotted body parts. He's not really he's just kind of crazy, and that's it. And the wife, she literally has no character. I shouldn't be comparing it too much to Seven, like I said, but I don't know. It's just it's not nearly as strong in that department, and it feels like it's going way more on the whole gimmick of the film.
Yeah.
And so what is it that he's killing people based on the apostles? I think it was. It's a fisherman, and
he's trying to reconstruct the body of Christ.
No, but he's killing him based on I forget. I don't really know much about the Bible stuff, but there's
where
like
you're going. I just don't.
there's like something he killed like the one guy because they were a fisherman. He killed the one guy because like
Oh yeah,
yeah, he was like basing it, and they're kind of piecing it together by that. Something
the
about the
victim's
Impossibles in the Bible.
name, these numerals. The guy realizes that when combined with the victims' names, these numerals are citing Bible verses.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. And like he left like a key mark on one of them at one point that they like find the key to somewhere. So he's like, he's leaving them hints to the next thing, and they'll find like
every victim's 33 years old.
Yeah,
because
and it's
Jesus
like,
was 33 at the time of his death.
And like apparently he's gonna be finished doing it on Easter, I think.
Yeah.
And like, it's the same type of thing as in Seven with the going to the aftermaths, the crime scenes, and like they find a guy like in the dirt. They find like someone with like his arm is like ripped off because it's taking different limbs. First he takes like the right arm and the left arm and the legs, which is kind of cool. I mean, it's not really a gory film, but like the gore that's in it was good, I thought. But yeah, and he's got like he's coming written on the wall, kind of like in Seven with the greed and blood. I guess it's written in like.
I don't know. I love that.
There's just like a dude sitting on a toilet with no head.
Yeah, he's coming all right.
And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't have too much to say about this film, but like,
I don't know if we should like go beat by beat for the plot for this one, because
no, I don't. I was just gonna say some things, some similarities to Seven. The first scene in the film, I think it is like, John, I think is his name, Christopher Lambert character.
Yeah, John.
He's like being called to work in the early morning, and is like telling his wife to go back to sleep, which is, I'm pretty sure that exact scene happens in Seven. But like generally, it feels like something I've seen a billion other times in other films as well. I feel like I've seen that same thing.
It almost feels like it could be a fucking Hellraiser movie if they just added Pinhead in.
Yeah, it reminded me of fucking Inferno. Yeah, it reminded me of that a bit. Actually, yeah. But
just
then there's the part when John describes like the after the first dude, I forget. Yeah, they just find him like with his arm chopped off or whatever. And, like he says like to the police chief, he's like, I don't think there's going to be more killings. This is not just a one-off thing, which is exactly the same thing as Seven. Except for that, it was more subtler. It was subtler. I mean, it wasn't, but like, it just felt more in character for Morgan Freeman's character at that point, for Somerset. In that it felt like something that was more than just like. In this, it just felt like they took that element from Seven. Because it's like this guy, he's not like some kind of. He just seems like a basic cop. And then there's the scene when Andrew, I think is his name, the partner. Who like tells jokes to people. He says like,
which was very bad.
Yeah, and he says like, oh, he's a nutball or whatever, and like there's that exact scene where he says like, John says, no, you shouldn't say he's just a lunatic. You shouldn't discredit his intelligence. And it's like it's the exact same thing. And also, the killer like comes for John's wife. To kill her at one point, like in Seven, but he doesn't. I thought they were gonna do the exact thing, and basically, but like, it wasn't. He like kills her sister or friend or something. I forget, because he thought it was her.
Maybe it's the sister of his wife.
Yeah, but like in general, I just don't think the film works for any of the same reasons Seven works. It's like someone saw Seven, and it was like, oh, why don't we do this? We can make a serial killer film with a religious motivation. And have him always find the crime, or the have it be a very intelligent serial killer who leaves clues in his crime scenes, and that's what they got out of Seven. They didn't get the characters.
I don't know why we're talking about the same time. My bad.
But yeah, they I feel like they didn't get any of the character stuff. They didn't get what made it Seven such an interesting film. They didn't get like the character or John Doe's motivation. They didn't get anything out of Seven. They just got It's like they read the plot synopsis of Seven and was like, oh, let's make that.
That's the left note.
Yeah, like fucking what's his name did with Dante's Inferno.
Mills.
And like it does look nice, I guess. It looks decent.
I did note that the cinematography, I pay attention to that a lot in films, was actually surprisingly adamant for a film of this budget.
Yeah, like it wasn't like parts of it were good and parts of it were just like most of it was some of it was kind of bad and most of it was just I thought was like
it wasn't like amazing, but it was interesting.
It was like acceptable, you know. It was just like, you know, it's there. It's not and there were some weird editing things. I noticed like when they find the guy sitting on a toilet with no head, it's like camera's like it's like warping and like Andrew the partner he's like freaking out and like it's warping and like cutting back and forth. There's some weird editing stuff like that, and or like there's a scene when they're sitting eating like lunch and they're talking about like the killer's motivation, and like it keeps cutting to like a train going by, which was really weird. Like I felt like that was gonna have something in the film because like you see this train going by at several points, but it really doesn't.
It's a train from Se7en.
Yeah, I don't know, and like there's a point when I
don't remember the scene, but these birds CGI, they were like fucking floating birds from like a basic ass program for CGI.
I didn't catch that.
Also, like the scene, the flashback where he watches his kid die. Dude, actually fucking.
That was hilarious. Actually, I was watching it and like it kind of caught me off guard. It's supposed to be like this emotional scene, and like you know, it's sad his kid died or whatever, but it's like it's kind of terribly executed because it's like they're playing in the park, and the kid's like riding a bike, and like he like runs after him and he's going towards the street and like jumps and misses grabbing the tire, and like the mother screams and it's like very over the top, and then you see the actual kid like run over, and, like he like rides out into it, like he like falls and like tips like into it. I mean, obviously it was probably just like a dummy or something. I don't know. It gets crushed, then like John is like screaming like a really like no, but like, you know, there's no audio. And I was just like kind of overacted. Then it cuts back and he's just like, no. Like, I don't know, something about that edit was funny. Like, it cuts back and he's just like, no. Like, it snaps back into it. I don't know, it was just, that was hilarious. There's also the point later in the film when, which is another problem, is the ending, I think. So, the killer, I forget what his name is. Demas?
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever, I don't fucking know. He's some guy that was like giving him information at one point, and then I guess he turns out he's the killer.
Yeah, guy.
Yeah, but it turns out he was like in a mental institution or something. And he was the killer all along. And he's like he has to find a baby that was born on midnight to someone named Mary, I think. So he can take its heart and put it inside his Jeebus. And then he's like, John chases him through a hospital, and then he goes out on the roof and he's like holding the baby upside down over the
over
the edge of
baby.
Yeah, he's like holding him over
what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, he's holding him over the edge of the thing, and it's like there's really fake baby crying. And it's like something about whenever there's like a kid in peril in this, I thought it was hilarious. and then he just John just shoots him, and he falls off the building and dies with his arms out doing like the Jesus pose, and then it ends. It's like, what the fuck? Like, it was so weird because I was actually expecting, like, you know, it's called Resurrection, and like I thought for some reason there was gonna be like this like crazy twist where it's like all along he was actually like he was gonna cause like, I don't know, Armageddon or something, or like, you know, the fucking he actually is a
there was no good surprise factor.
No, he just like, shoots the guy and he falls off the thing, then it ends, and then there's this weird, he's like, and especially because like he goes and, like, you know, John kills the guy, and then he goes and he kind of has like this happy ending moment where he says to his wife like, all right, you know, I'm gonna take some time off and I'm gonna pull my life together and get it, you know, get it better. And then he goes and he's like talking to Andrew, because like earlier in the film, Andrew, the partner, he like got his leg cut off by the killer, and he's like talking to him and he's like, oh, I'm gonna be back, buddy. You know, it's like this really weird, like wholesome ending, and then it just ends. And I was like, I thought it was really gonna be like it's that, and then like this like twist happens, and it's like really something crazy. Like, oh, then actually, father, whatever, David Cronenberg was also in on it or something. I don't know. It was so anticlimactic to me because it's just like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
No
It was just
big surprise factor. There's nothing.
And not that there has to be like some crazy twist in every movie. It was just like it felt like it was building up to something. I mean, I guess you could say the climax was like when they find like all the body parts sewn together into like Jesus on the cross, which is kind of cool. It was a cool effect, kind of decent looking, kind of grotesque. I don't know, but it felt like it was building up to something, and then it just ends. And it's like, what? Or like he kills the guy, and then there's just like this very like, okay, I guess that's it. I guess you couldn't have put a twist in like Se7en did, even though you're clearly ripping it off. I don't know. Do you have anything else to say? I guess David Cronenberg's in there. He's like, I liked him. I like David Cronenberg.
I think the killer has a mask, right? The mask is pretty cool, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and there's like that cool scene when he goes into this like a photographer's studio, I think. And like the guy's laying there and he's got his one leg chopped off and it's like bleeding, and like it looked cool. It was like, kind of gory and graphic. That was cool scene. And then that's I really don't have much to say about this. I couldn't really take Christopher Lambert seriously for some reason.
His acting has never been good.
Yeah.
So,
he has like an accent, and like some of the dialogue he was saying, it wasn't because he has an accent, it wasn't the dialogue, but it was that mixture of him saying stuff in that accent. It was just kind of funny to me. There's that one part when like John walks into the station and the guy's like, he thinks he's telling a joke. He's like, something, and then my girlfriend got hit by a bus. And John like starts laughing, thinking that was like a punchline. The guy's just like, what are you laughing at? It's actually real. My girlfriend got run over, and it's like, that was kind of funny. I don't know. That's pretty much it. I don't think this is
it's not
very good movie
for this movie.
Yeah, it didn't have an interesting enough story or characters to be like Se7en, and where it's actually just like that's what keeps the film going. And it didn't have enough of just like kills or gore that was interesting enough to keep it interesting in that department. But it's like it's mildly entertaining, I think, but generally like forgettable and bland, especially compared to Se7en, which it's clearly ripping off. Kind of made me want to like rewatch Se7en. I don't know. I'd give it a 4 out of 10.
I gave it 3.5, which would be 7.
Gave it a 7.
I don't know how I feel about that rating. Anyways,
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Se7en was definitely a very influential film, but
inspired. Is not what you want to see.
What?
I said resurrection is just avoid it.
But you gave it a 7 out of 10. It's like
I'm
pretty
gonna
positive.
Change that rating. I'm realizing how much of a piece of shit this movie is. Even though I have 5 likes on Letterboxd, I don't want to keep the rating.
Well, yeah, it's not a terrible movie. Like, I would say just watch Se7en if you want to watch this. But, like, I mean, it's not terrible. It's not the worst thing ever. It's not like something like Hellraiser, Inferno, It's mildly competent. And, like, if Se7en didn't exist, I might like the whole thing more because of the premise. But, yeah. That's about it for the movie discussions part of this episode. Now we have...
What did we watch this week? Segment.
I watched... The only other movie I watched this week was Cry Macho.
Oh, the new
which
Clint
was
Eastwood.
Actually pretty solid.
Oh, by the way, this goes for like the past 2 weeks since we didn't do one last week. And I guess even 3 weeks since you didn't do it the week before either. So whatever you watched in the past like 3 weeks.
I haven't watched much at all.
Yeah,
but I did watch Cry Macho. It's a nice little lightweight Western that has heart. I like it.
Old Eastwood.
He's still
it's like in his 90s.
He's 91.
Damn.
Yeah, he still got some class. He's pretty alright. That's about all I have to say about the movie. If you like Clint Eastwood, watch it.
I might watch it at the end of the year when I watch a whole bunch of 2021 movies, but not really sure.
What'd you watch this week?
I watched a lot in the past 2 weeks.
Oh boy.
I started by rewatching Taxi Driver 2 weeks ago. It's still my favorite film for the past for a while. It's been my favorite film, and gotta have to talk about it more at some point because I can go on and on about that one. You know, being my favorite film and all. Yeah, just really good. I watched The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover by... Hold up. Who's the director of that?
I heard that was very, very good film.
Peter Greenway. Directed by Peter Greenway. Very interesting. It's a weird fucking movie. It really is. It's very, like... The best way I'd describe it is, like, it's very classy. It's very disgusting. Which is two things that doesn't really seem to go together, but, like, it's got this weird, like, I don't know, like, excess to it. It's very weird. I don't know. It's very interesting. I enjoyed it quite a bit. It's something, the entire thing feels like it's almost like a play in a way, like the sets. Very interesting sets. Yeah, it goes some places that I didn't expect it to go. So, that's about all I gotta say about that. I watched Your Name, the anime film, which was fun, but it wasn't really my type of thing. So, sorry to all the Your Name fans out there listening. I don't know.
I'm kidding.
Yeah. But it was fun. It was like lighthearted until it gets serious, but then it gets lighthearted again. I don't know. I didn't love it, but it was fun. I actually rewatched a lot of my favorite movies. I didn't even realize this. I rewatched Synecdoche, New York, which it never fails to make me depressed, but still like one of the best films ever made, in my opinion. You've seen that one, right?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, I'd love to do an episode on it, but I wouldn't even know where to start talking about it.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
It's such a complex film, and like every time I watch it, I get more out of it. I realize more that's going on thematically. I get more of the little details because there's so many details. It's a very complex film, but like, yeah, I watched it for the I think fourth time, and yeah, I still don't even know where to start talking about it. But yeah, it's probably in my top 5 favorite movies. I rewatched a Serbian film, which, you know, it has quite the reputation if you know what that is.
Wink, wink.
Yes. It is a really good movie, in my opinion, and I think it's really effective as a horror movie. Even though, like, a lot of people call it really edgelord and maybe trying too hard to shock you. And it is kind of edgy and shocking, but, like, I just think it's a really good movie, and, like, I've seen it 3 times, which is weird. A lot of people, like, say, like, they could hardly make it through watching it once, so I don't know. I don't think it's that bad. I'd kind of like to talk about it on the podcast at some point, because, like, I don't know, I feel like I have a lot to say about it, and I feel like its reputation of just being the most controversial, shocking movie, disturbing thing ever made, I feel like that kind of ruins it for a lot of people, because they just think that's all it has, when I feel like there's a little bit more there, and I don't know, it's a good movie.
Serbian film, Antichrist, double feature.
Actually, I'd like to do a double feature with another movie I rewatched this week called Salo. 120 Days of Sodom.
I was thinking Salo too, like a Serbian film and Salo.
I would kind of love to do that because I feel like, in a way, a Serbian film is like the Salo of today. You know, I came out 10 years ago, but, you know, Salo came out like 40 years ago, or like, wait, shit, 45 years ago? Came out like 75.
Wow.
Anyway, I feel like a Serbian film is kind of the modern Salo in a way. They're very different, and they're going for very different things, but they both have themes about corruption and a very political aspect to both of them, and they have a lot of shocking, disturbing sexual violence. But yeah, I rewatched Salo. I hate to say enjoy it because it's not really a movie you enjoy, but like I do enjoy it. I think it's really good. It's one of my favorite Italian films, so I need to see more Pasolini. I watched the Criterion of it, so that was nice because for some reason the first time I watched it on my phone.
David Lynch is turning in his bed right now.
Fucking telephone. Never, ever get the same experience. But also rewatched Good Time, Safdie Brothers, love it. Shit, I watched too much. What the fuck?
Safdie Brothers
I'm
double
only
feature
halfway through.
coming soon.
Yes, I want to talk about that and Uncut Gems at some point. I'd love to do.
It'd be a good double feature. I've not seen either, so.
Really? Nice.
Really?
Maybe we talk about Heaven Knows What too, because that's also a good Safdies. Yeah, it's one of my favorite films of the 2010s. I mean, I love it.
You asked earlier if there was a director that we could watch all the films for. The Coen brothers would be nice.
Oh yeah. I think that was before we started recording, so this won't have any context. But yeah, I'd love to do that.
My bad.
I watched Boiling Point by Takashi Kitano. I've seen 3 of his other films: Fireworks, Dolls, and Sonatine. And this is the first one that really made me realize what is kind of understand his style and kind of just get him and his whole thing. And so I think if I rewatch those, because this was like an earlier one, I feel like his other films are a bit more polished. I feel like if I rewatch them, I'll appreciate him a lot more. So I don't know. It's like the first Kitano film that really connected with me. So I don't know. That's cool. All right, a few more. Is this boring? Do you think people are actually going to give a fuck what I watched this week?
Oh.
Did you fall asleep?
I didn't fall asleep. I'm eating popcorn. That's why my mic's muted.
Oh, I watched Shutter Island by Scorsese. It's not my favorite Scorsese, but I really enjoyed it. Sadly, I knew the twist, so that kind of didn't ruin it, but like, I kind of felt like I've never actually seen it for the first time since I knew the twist. I watched the whole movie knowing the twist.
I didn't know the twist though in the movie.
Yeah, well, it was like spoiled for me. It was spoiled for me beforehand, which kind of sucks. But I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very, very solid. I also watched The Departed from Scorsese, and I really loved it.
Oh yeah, that's a fantastic movie.
Yeah, it's probably my second favorite Scorsese movie, below Taxi Driver, obviously, because that's my favorite movie ever. Yeah, I just loved it. I mean, like, I got a certain idea of what a crime movie from Scorsese is like, and like, this is, in a way, it's very Scorsese. It has a lot of his style and his signature stuff, but like, it's just so different, and like, it's so engaging. The whole story and the characters, I just love the whole thing. Yeah,
the acting is phenomenal too.
Oh yeah, great cast too. Good. Yeah, Jack Nicholson in it. That was his last film before he like retired, wasn't it? Might be wrong.
Somewhere around there. I gotta Google this now. He has dementia now, doesn't he?
Oh, does he? I didn't know that.
Filmography. I gotta go to a separate link. God dang it. Last thing he did was in 2010. Oh, he did The Bucket List after that.
Oh, okay. All right.
How Do You Know is the film he did.
I did not know that. All right. But yeah, he's great in it. I mean,
I want to make sure he has dementia so I don't look stupid.
But yeah, Departed, great film. I kind of want to see Infernal Affairs, which is based on. It's kind of a American remake of. Kind of want to see that, but yeah, I'd probably like to do a Departed episode at some point. But I kind of say that about everything. Kind of want to do an episode on every movie ever made. I also watched Irreversible, but the straight cut is called, where the entire film plays out in chronological order, which is very weird because like I didn't know what to expect going into it because like that's the whole like I hate to say gimmick, but like the whole hook of Irreversible is that every scene it starts at the end and it goes back through it in reverse basically, and I thought like is this still going to be good? Is it going to be worse? Is it going to be better? But like it's actually really solid in that way. It came on like the Indicator Blu-ray that I recently bought of it, so I want to check that out. And yeah, it's like the film plays out as a more not generic, a more typical kind of rape revenge film, but it's still like really effective, and I think it's really great. And it's not as good as the other cut because it loses a lot, but yeah, I don't know, I just really enjoyed it, and I watched it after being up for like 30 hours, so more intense scenes like really were way more intense, being like sleep deprived. So that was fun. Okay, a couple other things. I also watched a documentary called Jesus Camp about evangelical Christian camp for kids.
It's gonna be rough, isn't it?
Yeah. It kind of made me mad. Just like, fuck. I mean, just seeing the kids being fucking. I'm not a big fan of children being brainwashed. It's just the whole thing kind of hit too close to home, I guess, and it kind of pissed me off. I don't know, but yeah, it made me mad. But it was a very good documentary. And finally, I started watching the third season of Sex Education, which is a show that doesn't seem like something I'd like because it's like a Netflix comedy drama about teenagers. It's kind of like a sex comedy type of thing, but like it's actually really good, and I actually really enjoy it. Like every time a new season comes out, I started watching back when the first one came out in 2019, and I always forget how good it is until I start watching the new episode of the season or whatever, and it's like, oh yeah, I forgot why I love this show so much. But I don't know. Yeah, I'm about halfway through it already, and it's very fun. So I would recommend it if no one cares.
Finish season 2 of Succession. Oh wait, there is something I forgot. I started watching epicenters of New York 9/11 to 21 and a half by Spike Lee, a documentary series on Netflix. Not Netflix, HBO Max.
I didn't know that was Spike Lee. Interesting.
It is absolutely fantastic, and it showed me some footage from 9/11 that I have never seen before.
Yeah, that's really interesting. It being the 20 years ago. Are you sure it's Netflix? It's not HBO Max?
It is HBO Max. I corrected myself.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's HBO Max. I do recommend it if you. The first 2 episodes are not about 9/11. They're about like current political issues and coronavirus. But they're still pretty good. If you just want to see the 9/11 stuff, skip to episode 3.
Yeah, I'll check that out at some point. I've been trying to watch more documentaries.
I've seen quite a few.
Yeah, I've seen a few, and I've seen some really good documentaries and some mediocre ones, but like I feel like that's like a whole side of like filmmaking, or I guess documentary making, that like I just haven't explored yet, and like there's so many I want to watch.
Have you seen any Errol Morris?
Errol Morris? No, I have not. Let me look that up.
I wonder if he's still on Criterion or not. But fuck.
How do you spell that?
ERROL.
Errol Morris. All right. Thin Blue Line?
Yeah, that's his most famous. I have not seen that actually yet.
I really want to see the documentary Shoah. I bought it on Criterion back in July. It's like a 11-hour documentary about the aftermath of the Holocaust. I really want to see that. That should be interesting.
It's on the Criterion channel if you're subscribed to that.
Shoah?
I wonder if other stuff is. Do what?
I don't know. I'm talking in circles.
Alright, we're just about done. I guess the last thing we should mention is the next movies we're doing.
Yeah. So, next week, we will be doing a double feature. Denis Villeneuve? I think you say it.
I don't know how to pronounce his name.
I know it's Denis Villeneuve. Anyway. of Prisoners and Blade Runner 2049. So that'll be fun. We'll be carrying over our kind of discussion from the last episode where we talked about Blade Runner. We
Arthur's
are very
coming back, right?
Yes, we are getting Arthur back. I'm pretty sure he's coming back. Why did I say it like that? Yeah, so Arthur will be back then. That'll be fun. People seem to like him. And you'll watch the original Blade Runner 2 and maybe give your thoughts on it since you weren't there for that episode.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. Yeah, that's about it.
I've never seen any of Villeneuve's films, so this will be fine before I see Dune.
Not even like Sicario?
No,
Damn.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Not even Arrival, and Arrival has been free on Tubi for like forever.
Oh man. Yeah, he's a great director. But I think you'll like both of them. I think you will. Yeah.
I bet
should be an interesting discussion.
To see Prisoners ever since I saw the trailer way back in like 2013.
Yeah, it's pretty great. That's all I'll say. But thanks for listening, everyone, and making it this far. This episode will be on the longer side. Yeah, thanks for listening. Go check out everything in the description. And we're nearing episode 10, aren't we?
Oh, wow.
Woo, kind of a milestone. Yeah. Also, we're approaching October, which is horror month.
And we got some goodies cooking up for there.
Oh yeah, yeah boy.
Maybe a franchise, maybe some animated stuff, maybe some.
Who knows?
Other stuff. Who knows?
Maybe some art house, maybe some slashers. Who fucking knows? There's so much to horror. That's about it. So, let's awkwardly end this bitch.
Well, thank you for tuning in. Adios.
Goodbye.